Hey, everybody, you're going to want to listen all the way through this episode because the undoable was done. Kelly's Trivia Champ, right here, 2 for 2.
You're also going to find out how album from 1997 has turned out to be very timeless all these years later, and a special shout out to Madonna for leaving some amazing words to her brother who recently passed away. Enjoy the show, everyone.
Hey, everybody, we're back. Hi, Kel, how are you?
Magical.
I know what you're thinking, everybody. What did they do to Adam? Don't ask. Okay, don't ask, and everything's going to be fine. Adam remains, I saw him today. He remains head down, busy with the passion project that is the one that pays the bills. So he's working hard and he's growing his hair. Did we talk about that last show?
Oh,
Yeah, his hair's longer than we've ever seen.
my goodness.
And I told him I would be honest with him if it got to the point where I thought it was too long.
Yep.
And it's not there yet.
Okay. Is he
I
trying
mean,
to
we're
grow
going week to week, and it's impressive because he really only started the effect of trying to grow it out like in June or July or something, but he's got pretty good flow.
Is he trying to grow it like into a man bun, or what's happening?
No, in fact, that's what I said today. If it gets to the point where you have a ponytail, we're cutting it off. And he said, yes, please do. So he's just got some body to it, which is great. So he's fine. He'll be back. He is the magician behind the scenes putting us together as we try to scrape along for another show today without him. I kept it straight for a couple of seconds, didn't I? You guys, we have got some mom stories to get to. One is the tone of disappointment from one mom to a now fallen megastar. We have got Oasis news, and not surprising news, but it's still news. We're going to talk about also how Kelly's Trivia will prepare you for midterms, your SATs, the hardest exam you'll face. This is a practice for that. Also, in contrast to that, smooth riding during your 90s rewind. That will go back to 1992. And the other mom story that we're going to talk about on the show today is that now, with 3 generations of soulful singers have reunited in heaven with the passing of Sissy Houston. So let's start there.
Yeah, I was sad.
Yeah. And at the same time, like, I think that Sissy Houston is happy to be reunited with her daughter and her granddaughter.
Oh, I am certain of that. Yep.
She always had sort of an edge to her, it seemed. Like she knew the business before her daughter got into it because she herself was in it, an award-winning singer. But certainly as Whitney got older and more married and more partaking in whatever she did in an extracurricular fashion, you could tell that she had an edge to her. And certainly then when her granddaughter came around, and then when everything happened with Whitney, there was a change. And obviously when Bobby Christina passed, another layer of protectiveness would come over someone who has to see 2 generations go before her is probably unbearable. So she's earned her rest, I'd say. Wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, 1,000,000%. And it's funny because I think I knew at the time that she'd written a memoir, but forgot that she had.
Mm-hmm.
And now I keep telling you I want to read all these books. I don't know when Kelly will find the time to read these books, but now I would actually like to at least read that section where she talks about what it was like to deal with Whitney's addiction issues and yeah, like how it was to try to navigate after losing not only her daughter, but then like her granddaughter. So
Yeah. Tough stuff. No doubt about that. I mean, loss is hard, period. But when you've lost those, like I said, the generational hit is it's quite something. And it sort of goes against what chronology, you know?
yeah, yeah. And I think too, because I remember I think it was the American Music Awards or something, but there was a picture was it her picture or video, but like where Bobby Christina came out. It might have been when Whitney won something, but I remember her being like a toddler, like 2,
Mm-hmm.
and just thinking how cute she was. And then not knowing at that time, because I don't think many of us knew in the early 90s that Whitney had an issue. Like, I don't even know if she had an issue then. Like, I'm not sure what it would have probably started around then, because I'm assuming it was when she hooked up with Bobby. Um,
Right.
but the timeline's probably a little bit wonky. But anyways, I just remember thinking like when Bobby Christina passed, and then again today when I saw the stuff with Sissy, that like Bobby Chris looked like such a little innocent girl, and it's crazy that she never had the opportunity to live her life to the fullest.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure
Yeah.
because of being so affected by being in an addictive household.
Agreed. Prior to their existence, so what we know from Cissy Houston for not just being the mother of Whitney and grandmother to Bobby Chris was that she was a Grammy Award winning gospel singer.
Mm.
She sang backup with the likes of Elvis, which is pretty cool. Dionne Warwick, of course. It was all in the family, the way the successful link of or the success in a career in music is in the genes for sure. So we know where Whitney got it.
Yeah.
That's for show. And may she rest in peace. Like I said, well earned.
Yeah, I didn't read the full article too, Sharon. I don't know if you saw it, but Bobby Brown made a statement about like her something like, I'm paraphrasing, but it was something like obviously like rest in peace, et cetera, et cetera. So,
Pretty incredible that he's the last person standing. And I
isn't it
think that
crazy?
what's neat is that, or optimistic, neat sounds a bit insufficient, is that he's done the work,
Yeah.
thankfully, because he's got other kids and he's got a family and a wife, right?
Yeah. She seems really on the ball, that girl.
Yeah, really level.
Now he's lost 2 kids, right? Because
Yes.
he lost his son a few years after, was it 2018 or 19? He lost his,
Yeah.
so he has a heavy burden to live with every day.
Yeah. Agreed. Challenging.
Yep.
And when you think of the challenge of having to, maintain a sobriety, and then you're saddled with this kind of stuff. I was reading a story today about Ozzy Osbourne. I read it on our show on our rock station, um, where basically he came clean about not being entirely clean,
Okay.
and that he had, I don't remember what it was. He needed he had some pain, and he saw someone who gave him ketamine, and he said right away he felt that switch. And he said he was on another podcast, a visual podcast, which I guess is not a podcast when you're when it's visual, right? It's I think it's primarily on YouTube. Anyways, talking about that, and for the people he said that live with it, to stick with it, and as hard as it is, there's a program for you, there's help for you. And he said no matter what, you think you're having fun, but it'll bite you in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly. And ketamine is the popular uh drug we've heard a lot of surrounding Matthew Perry.
Yeah.
So
And
dangerous.
and also remember for a hot minute Demi Lovato was calling herself California sober, and then I don't know how many months went by. It wasn't I don't think it was a full year. But it was several months, and then she came back around and said, "No, I can't do that."
Yeah.
She needed to be sober if she was gonna be sober.
Right. Not just partially sober.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
good.
about yeah, I just think like I think that was a smart decision for her. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So heavy start to this show. Why don't we lighten the load with some easygoing trivia questions?
Oh yeah. Probably not many. Fingers crossed, Sharon.
Bing bong.
Um, do you want to start with I always think it's the tougher one, art and literature or hobbies, toys, and games?
Hmm. Let's start with art and literature.
Okie doke.
Because if this toys and games baloney comes back being difficult, I don't even know what I'm gonna do.
You come through the screen at me.
Yeah.
That'll be great. Um, So having originally gained notoriety in 1993, who or what is the Barbie Liberation Organization?
Who or what is the Barbie Liberation Organization? Um, and so you want a description or is it a person?
They actually give it, it's a sentence and it's describing who these people are.
I'm going to guess then that it's an organization that frees you from the confines of having to live up to the impossible stature of Barbie and all that she stands for in the world.
That's a great one.
Thank you.
I'll read the answer and you can tell me if you're right.
I'm already taking the point, but go ahead.
Okay, doke. Quote, a group of artists and activists involved in culture jamming.
So yeah, I was right.
Yeah.
Ding
Ding, ding, ding. That's exactly what I
ding.
thought. Moving on to hobbies, toys, and games.
Yes.
Um, Between 1997 and 1999, Galoob released 8 different sets of dolls depicting which British pop group?
How many?
Um, so between 1997 and 99, I guess a company called Galoob.
Spice Girls.
Yep. Boom, boom, boom. I knew you'd get that one, Cher.
Hells yeah.
So are we going with 2 for 2 this week?
Yes, we are.
Okay, great. Oh, Adam, you're in trouble.
Oh, Adam, good luck with your long flowing hair.
Yeah. Is it like model wavy
No, it's shorter
like
than mine. Like
but
it's just
like Christopher Reeve-esque from Superman?
yes.
Great.
Yes, and he's got good hair.
Yeah, he has good hair.
And he's young. Why not try?
Yeah.
Right? You you can cut it when you don't like it, but I figure he's gone through the awkward stage. I think girls have a harder time with the awkward stage of, short hair to a longer where it's like, what do I do with it? It doesn't always look good and you can only wear so many hats.
Yeah.
Except in our world, we can wear as many hats as we like. I realize I'm having this conversation with the woman wearing a hat.
Yeah. Actually, this is my new hat.
What
Do
is
you
this? Peterbilt.
think Peterbilt would like to sponsor our show or my good friends at Kawasaki?
Let the good times roll.
Yeah. Clearly marketing has worked on you from Kawasaki. It's great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of marketing,
Mhm.
just kidding. There's no segue to get into
Okay.
a story about Sean Combs. I feel weird calling him any of his handles,
At this stage.
actually, at this stage of the game.
Yeah.
At this stage of the game, that's not an actual game. Of course, his mother has spoken out.
Mhm.
And of course, she's supporting her son because that's what mothers do. Um, what did she say? She's defending her son. So she said, I come to you today as a mother that is devastated and profoundly saddened by the allegations made against my son. It is heartbreaking to see my son judged not for the truth, but for the narrative created out of lies. To bear witness to what seems like a public lynching of my son before he's had the opportunity to prove his innocence is a pain too unbearable to put into words. I get it, but I don't know, man. This is a narrative that it's almost like you couldn't make it up without some shred of um, truth or that it happened. When a term like freak offs comes out and the amount of you know lubricant that they talked about at the beginning, I mean, these were salacious items. Um, but this news story came out after the video of his abusing his girlfriend, which he vehemently denied. And then once the video came out, apologized, as a changed person or whatever he said. So are you apologizing because you're actually remorseful, or are you apologizing because you got caught with video evidence that not only proved that you were an abusive person, but that you lied about it?
Mhm.
So I get that his mother is, feeling like her son is being lynched, which I think is a really strong word. Um, but maybe it's a pain too unbearable to put into words or withstand, because at the heart of it, she knows it's probably true.
Everything as we know right now is alleged. However, well, no, alleged, period. But like, do you think she came up with this idea or he and his legal team asked her to do this?
Um, I don't think that anything happens just as it happens. It wasn't one, well, one of the things that he had to put up as collateral, wasn't it her home, or didn't he offer to do that?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That was in the first stories coming out was that he
Yeah,
was putting up his mansion in Miami and her
right.
$1 million home because he offered up 50 million. So 48 being his mansion-esque, I think on Star Island, and then
Hmm.
hers wherever hers is, which was 2 million, which was not accepted.
Right.
Yeah. So he's, as we speak, at least as of this recording, he is still in, I believe it's still that detention center in Brooklyn, New York.
He awaits trial for his indictment in the Southern District of New York on counts of racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution, all of which he has pled not guilty to. There are multiple civil lawsuits accusing him of a range of sexual misconduct and other illegal activities. So, yeah, too much of a flight risk for a person of his stature and connections with, uh, an escape plan is probably why they kept him in. And yet, like you said, these allegations are just that. They're not proven yet. And no, he's not uh, stood trial. Um, that said, these are not just accusations that are thrown around.
No, these are indictments.
These are big.
Yeah. And something that hasn't been said yet is because like as of now, he will remain in custody until said trial commences. Is that in 6 months? Is that like because usually
Yeah.
there's a delay, right? There's a significant delay. I don't know if because he's such a high profile case, they'll push it through a bit quicker. I'm not sure. Or they'll just make him sit there for 6 months. Because
Yeah,
I'm
they
assuming it's at least 6 months. Like I'm from, everything you ever hear, nothing goes through right away, right? So
yeah, and he's not the only this isn't the only case that's happening,
yeah, well,
right?
they have
There's
like,
they're likely backlogged, like every courtroom is backlogged.
because I think that Southern District, and like I'm sure somebody right now is either screaming at their listening device or not, but I'm pretty sure that Southern District of New York, that is like also for Wall Street. Like that handles like Wall Street stuff, like
Ah.
like those lawyers that are the prosecutors. So like I'm sure they have a lot of white collar crime they deal with also. You know what I mean? Like I think
Hmm.
that Southern District of New York is handles Wall Street stuff. So I'm sure they have lots of cases in.
I trust your judgment on this, Kelly, because you watch the crime shows.
Yeah, I do watch the crime shows.
So that's helpful in
Yeah.
this case.
Yeah.
Imagine I could be a legal advisor. Kelly's got like a side hustle of
Yeah.
using her criminal minds knowledge to advise or advocate for people.
Yeah, this time I think they came to mind because I watched the show Billions, which the guy was like always getting in trouble. So,
Right. Oh yeah.
you ever
Yeah,
watch
yeah.
that show?
I have watched it.
Oh, it's so good. It was such a great show. I really,
Hmm.
yeah. Hmm.
It's such a different, like the title implies, it's such a different earning
Yes.
echelon that is far beyond my current status, not far beyond what I'd enjoy,
Yeah.
just much beyond what I've got going on, what I'm banking.
Yeah.
But it creates this platform of possibility for like stories that are like exciting,
Mm,
but also the concern for the money is like there's just so much of it that
yeah.
it becomes less about the money, which is interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's and like yeah, like when I was watching that show because obviously they have to have some modicum of truth, right? And we know from just even if you're like a celebrity watcher and you see like here's like a show on yachts, like it's always like New York financial people that have said yachts, you know what I mean? Or people
Yeah.
like tech people. But yeah, so and even that guy that just died in that yacht that went down in that storm, like he was a New York financial dude. No, a British financial dude, sorry. But like they all have the money, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like next level when you see like they travel by helicopter because
Again, I'm ready for that.
yeah,
I think I'd be good at it.
I think they should sponsor our podcast. Like, I think
Hey, yes, we would accept your sponsorship. We could work something out.
yeah, I think my better half calls it being a purveyor of the arts.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, like behind Kelly, she's got 2 screens. We could put your name there.
Yeah, exactly.
We could move ours over. We could take the word and put the
Yeah.
ampersand sign and squish Adam over and put your name right after it.
Yeah, boom. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a premium.
Yeah.
Speaking of premiums, Oasis are booked for North American shows, which we talked about last show also.
Yep.
Those shows are sold out and sold out right quickly. No surprise there. Talking about getting the last laugh. The from the people that I talked to that waited in line, we spoke to somebody on our show last week that was super stoked to get a pair of tickets that she for one of the Toronto shows, because there's 2 of those in August of 2025, and she was saying cost a bit much for 300 or so, and I thought, wow. In my brain, I thought, first, that's not that bad.
Yeah.
Which
Yep.
is sad that we think that $300 for a ticket is not that bad, but that's our current state of concert going. Then spoke to somebody else who was looking through third party, and it was more in the neighborhood of 1,500 at least.
Crazy.
And then I talked to a friend of mine whose boyfriend was like, no, I'm not sure we should even try, because who knows if they're going to make it to that point.
Yeah.
They're famously battling brothers. They've spent the last, more years, even before they broke up, they fought within the band. So there's a real good chance that they won't make it. But I mean, conversationally and not joking aside, all jokes included, it sounds funny to say that because it sounds possible.
Yeah.
But I think they are. I would hope rather that they are responsible adults that will honor their commitments.
And I'm sure
because that's what rock and roll is, eh? Responsible adults who honor their commitments.
that's the tagline for it. That's what they are. But I think too, like whoever underwrote this tour would have had that as a clause. Like, if you do not go through with this, we own you for the next X amount of
Oh my
decades.
goodness.
You know what I
Imagine
mean?
that. Yeah.
Somebody had to take on the underwriting of them, right? So yeah.
Somebody had to ensure the grips.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say insure their assets like Jennifer Lopez's.
Ensure their assets, cover their assets.
Yeah.
That's what they do. Are you ready for your 90s rewind?
I am.
Because it's good. It's top of the chart stuff. So it'll be like a boom, boom, boom. You'll know all these songs. But I thought, what a great snapshot of 1992 when at the top of the chart, the 4-part harms of Boys to Men were at the end of the road. Remember, they had spent a good chunk of the summer with that song, like 13 weeks or something like that, and still riding high weeks after that. How about Patti Smith, one-time singer of Scandal?
Oh, yeah.
Current time wife of John McEnroe in 1992. Sometimes love just ain't enough. She means it when she uses bad grammar, like ain't.
Yeah.
Then we got some jumping and some humping thanks to House of Pain, Jump Around, and Bobby Brown, Humping Around.
That's such
How fun.
great...
Totally. Yeah. The 70s lent itself right well with the 90s, at least 1992, when KWS took on Casey and the Sunshine Band's Please Don't Go, turning a classic ballad from the roller rinks in the 70s to dance floor jamma.
Yeah.
Give you also Arrested Development's People Every Day, speaking of cover tunes, sampling Everyday People from Sly and the Family Stone, and wrapping it up. You know what? I was going to do one more, but I can't not. I'll give you November Rain from Guns N' Roses.
Yep.
And then I'll 1-2 punch you with PM Dawn's Whisper Talking on I Die Without You.
Such a great tune.
I Die Without You.
Yeah.
What was his name again?
PM Dawn guy?
PM Dawn guy, yeah. Anyways, we'll look it up. If Adam was here, he'd help us, but he's not. And I'm tired. My eyes are burning.
Yeah.
But he was the whisper talk singer of all time in the 90s. Poetry.
You could barely understand lyrics, basically. But
Yeah.
you know who does whispery kinda? Billie Eilish, but she gets away with it because she actually can sing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I thought that for that song that she did, the Barbie from the Barbie soundtrack,
Mm.
um, that's such a controlled delivery of whisper that it was compelling because you're like, is she gonna crack? And she never cracks.
Yeah.
Pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Anyways, before we go on from Billie Eilish, that was your 90s rewind,
Good job.
wrapped up in a
Good.
whisper.
Yeah, exactly. What did I want to mention? Just quickly, as of our recording, it just passed the anniversary of Janet's Velvet Rope album.
Oh my.
And I only bring it up because it's not that it's a milestone yet. It's year 27, which is like crazy to me. But it's more that I saw a lot of Janet fans who I know watch and listen to this show, putting up really nice tributes to it. And it's so great to see that 27 years later, that album, and as you know, I'm sure many for you, Sharon, regarding your favorite artist, it's so great to see how it still means so much to so many people.
Yeah. That's the best. I think the greatest lesson about music appreciation is that um, as much as the business of music, the business of the art has always focused on the next, the next, the next, and oh, that was then, and whatever. The fact remains that our appreciation for music starts to take hold when we're like 15, 16,
Yep.
and that becomes our favorite music, and we just build on it.
Mhm.
So when we go back, we're tapping into those endorphins that make us feel good. So it doesn't matter if it's in the past, it means as much as it ever did.
Yep.
So you can like whatever you want, whenever you want. It's
Yep.
amazing. And I love knowing that because it doesn't mean that you have to pack up, your youth and oh, I got to focus on other things. There's so much room for everything musically that's what makes it so fun.
Mm. And it's crazy too, like, especially with that album for me and for many fans, I think is even though it came out in 97 and like, you're a certain age at that point, like I was 20, well, I was 20, I was turning 21 soon. Um, that it like you learn a lesson at that point or you learn lessons from those songs, but then when you listen to them now, I get different messages out of it. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, well, I think it taps into the time of your life too.
Yeah.
Stuff that you're going through, happiness, sadness,
Mhm.
everything you hear. That's I've had an intense kind of year with some stuff that's been going on, and I find I'm listening to music in a way that it's reaching me completely and entirely new,
Mhm.
helpful and not helpful sometimes,
Yeah.
but it's there and it's always been there. So the fact that this music, however old it is as continues to be a resource, through whatever times you're going through, I think is amazing.
Yeah, yeah, and, yeah, so just a shout out to, like, to the fans who, take the time and I know that they would do that for Janet or for Whitney or for Madonna and oh, yeah, that's the other thing, Sharon, we didn't quickly get to, but just a quick message. I'm sure you saw, Madonna lost her brother, Christopher,
Oh my goodness, yes.
and, so many amazing tributes from people that I follow, like, Tracy Young, who was a DJ, like, who is a DJ and was very hooked up, in the Madonna camp, um, uh her backup vocalists at the time, Nikki and Donna. I
Oh
don't
yeah.
think I saw a post from Nikki, but I saw one from Donna Delory, who had a picture of Christopher because she would have been, in there at that time when he was like,
Yeah.
I didn't know this. I may have known that, but forgot or didn't know. He was a creative director of or the tour director of The Girly Show,
Yeah.
which is bananas. And so obviously like and they just said what a lovely human he was and complicated and like all that stuff, but just had
Hmm.
such a great artistic flair to him on many different levels. And if you haven't had the chance, please go to Madonna's Instagram. She wrote an amazing tribute to him.
Loved it. I loved it.
Yeah, amazing. So
Yeah.
just shout out to him because you did know they were tight and then they weren't tight and then I'm glad she was there for him in the end. So
Because that's family, right?
yeah.
Like family is the group of people, whatever the number, that it's almost like we treat them the best and the worst.
Mhm.
Because subconsciously, they're always going to be family.
Yep. Yep.
But it's relationships that those are the ones you often take for granted, or ideally grow into and respect. And I think sometimes you need space, and clearly there were times in that in their relationship where they needed space, and they allowed that for themselves. But ultimately, they were there for each other.
Yep.
Period.
Yep.
Just like us, Kel.
That's how we roll.
That's how I need some space now.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna be like, we're so close, we're so great.
No,
We're like,
I just
Kelly.
need space because the show's over. That's all.
Okay, that's
I'll
fair.
see you after.
Fair enough. Bye, friends.
Thank you, everybody, for finding us wherever it is that you do. We appreciate it. You have any questions, you can ask at any time. We have a mailbag. It's nice when there's mail in it.
Yep.
And like we said at the start of the show, the mail that usually sits with us will be back at some point, but he's going to work his magic to make sure the show gets to you. And again, thank you for listening to 90s Now. Still happening.